As she paced the room, a trail of sweet perfume lingered behind her. Her husband watched her movements, more out of habit than curiosity. He was waiting for another woman, but he had stayed home at Alice's request. Lady Keppel was anxious, awaiting a note from Baron Allington. The family was mired in debt, and only Alice's wealthy friends could help. The most beautiful woman of the Edwardian era was born in the middle of the 19th century to Sir William Edmonstone. It wasn't a particularly high title, considering it was created during the reign of James I and could be bought. Quite the opposite was her mother's surname. The Parsons family had a long aristocratic history, and the girl's grandfather had served as the governor of the Ionian Islands. The little girl was named Alice Frederica, becoming the youngest of Sir William's 11 children. Mischievous and playful, she was quite the tomboy. Thus, the nickname Freddie took hold in the family more easily than Alice. In Duntroon Castle, she explored every secret passage, and there was plenty to discover. This fortress had once been inherited by Scottish Princess Mary, who married one of Freddie's ancestors. So the girl was related to royalty. When the son of the Earl of Albemarle began to court the grown-up Alice Edmonstone, the girl's family immediately gave their blessing. The Keppel family, to which the young man belonged, was well known on the island for their bravery and loyalty to the crown. Thus, the young couple was blessed and married. Lady Alice Keppel quickly captivated London society. She was stunningly beautiful. Her luscious chestnut hair could be styled into any intricate updo, just in line with the fashion of the time. Invitations to soirees, outings, hunts, and balls poured in for Alice. This young woman became a true ornament in any aristocratic drawing room. However, in her own drawing room, Alice critically surveyed her surroundings. Contrary to expectations, she had to lead a very modest life. Her husband had no means, and her dowry was small. Moving among the richest and most famous people in England, the Keppels desperately concealed their dire situation. They were on the brink of bankruptcy, with a bleak prospect ahead, leaving the capital to settle in the provinces, where life was much cheaper. They would have to abandon high society, most likely forever. Yet, one of the bankers, Ernst Becker, suddenly began to show Alice attention. Without hesitation, the young woman responded to his advances. This was how the Keppels managed to avoid a financial pitfall. Soon after, Lady Keppel caught the eye of Baron Allington. When the Keppels had a daughter named Violet, almost no one doubted that her true father was either Becker or the Baron. People marveled at Alice's husband's composure. Of course, George Keppel had devised a way to help their finances. Despite the whispers, Alice remained the most popular woman in the English capital. Sir Acton enthusiastically remarked, there was no woman who could rival Lady Keppel. The charm of this woman, her wit, attracted people to her like a magnet. At the close of the 19th century, Alice Keppel met Prince Edward of Wales. He was 56 years old, known as the heir to the throne, and soon became an admirer of the lady. Their relationship began in Kent and continued until the prince's death, more accurately, the death of King Edward VII. Alice's status changed dramatically. She became the official mistress of the king. Lady Keppel received £50,000 from the king. George Keppel took a position at court. Their wealth grew day by day, along with their influence over Edward VII. And it was a positive influence. The son of Queen Victoria had been known for his laziness since childhood, a flaw he never quite shook off. However, Alice managed to persuade him to listen to his minister's reports. She took notes after each presentation and helped the king make informed decisions. Even Prime Minister Asquith acknowledged her significant role, writing a grateful letter to Alice for her assistance in state affairs. But when the king passed away, Alice's era came to an end. Edward VII's children didn't even allow her to say goodbye to their father. The Keppels hurriedly left London, traveled the world, and returned a few years later. However, England had changed. Alice was no longer invited everywhere as she had been before. Disheartened, the Keppels moved to Italy, where they rarely ventured out. Now, Alice Keppel led a quiet and respectable life at the Villa Umberlino. She followed events back home with interest, though she played no active role in them. When Edward VIII abdicated, Lady Keppel merely scoffed, saying, "Things used to be more solid." Both Alice and George passed away in the same year, 1947. In addition to their daughter Violet, they had another daughter, Sonia. Sonia's life was not as remarkable as her mother's, but there is one significant detail. Sonia Cubitt became the grandmother of Camilla Parker Bowles, the woman who was loved throughout her life by another Prince of Wales, Charles. Camilla is now the wife of the prince and holds the title of Duchess of Cornwall. But that is quite another story. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and give a like.